Right, it's early on a Sunday morning, late August, car's packed, and I'm going on another fishing adventure. So without further ado, away then, let's get to the tune.
The first port of call on my trip was Coxo near Durham. After living down south for the best part of 25 years, my parents moved back to the northeast in 2007. I think a large part of the decision-making process involved in buying the house might have had something to do with the fact that there's a pub literally on the doorstep. We're talking no more than 2 minutes walk. After a few local ales, it would be time to get an early night, as tomorrow would be a big day. At 6 AM, I was on the road and crossing over the Tyne, and right into the centre of Newcastle. Before I knew it, I was pulling into the park where I first experienced the magic of angling nearly 30 years previously. After a look round the lake, I opted for a swim on the far side, which gave me plenty of options. A short while later, my Uncle Peter and cousin Daniel arrived. Daniel would be staying to help out with the video.
Right, well I'm here in Leazes Park, Newcastle now, all set up and fishing. I've chosen Peg 22 over the far side of the lake because it gives me access to the corner of the island, which according to some of the local anglers is a known hotspot for picking up a few fish. And I've also got access to the edges of the no fishing area. If you look in the shot that I'm going to show you in a minute, you can see that there's a floating boom to section off that area. So obviously a lot of fish get in there during the day because they know they're safe in there. So the trick is to try and trip one of them up on their way out. That may not happen till later on tonight when they've got their guard down a bit more, but we'll certainly see. There hasn't been any fish coming out today so far for any of the other anglers fishing, so hopefully it's going to pick up a bit. Got my cousin Daniel here, who you can see behind the camera there. He is helping out with the filming, doing a bit of fishing as well, and yeah, hopefully it's going to be a good session, fingers crossed.
Soon there'd be more family arriving to see us, and my Auntie Eileen was certainly intrigued by the whole carp angling setup.
On the indulgence bed chair, yes. You're enjoying yourself in there?
Absolutely, yeah. First time. I've never been camping in my life.
Oh dear.
Ever. But this is as far as it goes.
You're not going to stay tonight then?
No, definitely not.
Search for the perfect bed is finished. Really nice.
It is. Very comfortable.
So it hasn't rained today, has it?
Best of luck, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
We will.
Mum and Dad turned up shortly after to wish us luck.
Bye.
And as usual, my dad's enthusiasm for fishing was in danger of bubbling over. Then again, he'd never really been that excited as far as fishing was concerned.
Dad, tell us what you thought when I started fishing then, back in the 80s.
Back in the 80s. Well, because you were of an age too young to go on your own, I used to take you, and that was not because I was at all interested in it. I wasn't. I didn't see the point. And I eventually got an insight into it, which I used to use on training courses. I ran a lot of training courses, and the vast majority of people who were on these courses didn't particularly volunteer to be there. They were told to be there. And a fair old percentage of those that had been told to be there were of a certain age, where they had the attitude, I've seen that, I've done that, I've got the t-shirt. And I used to tell them a story about when you were fishing. I didn't take part. Sometimes, a large part of the time, I would sit in the car just to be there. And when I was watching, I just couldn't understand the enjoyment side of it at all. In fact, there were occasions, a number of occasions, where you didn't catch anything. And then at the end of the day, when we were packing up and going home, he said, can I go again tomorrow, Dad? And I said, yeah, fine. And I used to say to your mum, I said, I do not know what he's seeing this at all, which is, it's the same thing every day. We sit there, now it happens. And it took me a while to cop on. And what I suddenly realised was, I was seeing the same thing every day, and every time I went. But you saw something different. And in reality, what you saw was the truth, which is, it's never the same. Every single split second, that water changes, the air temperature changes, clouds come over, fish go by, the water moves. So it's impossible for it to be the same. The difference is the attitude that you take towards it. And that was a lesson that I tried to impart on people who were attending courses. Even at some stage I would say, look, you might have covered all this topic before, but you've never covered it today. And you might even have heard me say the same things before, but you've never heard me say it today. So it depends on your attitude, whether you take on board that there is something to learn out of everything you do. That's it, really.
Right, well, it's taken until 20 to 7 in the evening, but we've got our first catch out of Leazes Park Lake. This appears to be an underscript bag of crap, which is nice. Now, having achieved that, a fish would be nice.
As dusk fell across the city, I couldn't help wondering if this session was destined for failure. Right, well, it's the small hours of the morning now, and I've gone and caught a Leazes Park carp. Look at that. I mean, it's not the largest carp I've caught by any stretch of the imagination, but bloody hell, it's one of the most memorable, one of the best, from a place that I used to think these big carp were just uncatchable, and I've gone and caught one. Love it. Away the carp. There he goes. Yes! Get in. That was a £19 Leazes Park common. Tell you what, I am made up now. After the euphoria of the catch, I couldn't sleep, so I sat and watched the sun rise over the park. It wasn't long before Uncle Peter was back with some very welcome bacon sandwiches.
Well, I'm now joined by a very special guest down here at Leazes Park. It's me, Uncle Peter. Y'all read our kid?
How do?
Now, obviously, this is all your fault. This situation, it's all down to you because you took me for my first ever fishing trip here, didn't you?
Indeed. A young boy of 8 years of age pulled out a tiddler, perch about that size. I thought, well, that's par for the course, and here he is now, a specimen carp hunter.
I know, what year was that, do you reckon?
That must have been, bloody hell, I would have thought 1984.
Yeah?
85 possibly.
What?
Talking 30 years ago.
So what made you just decide to take me fishing then?
Because I've always been a keen fisherman, and you were on holiday here from Banbury, and I think you were a little bit homesick, and I thought I'd take the boy fishing with me, and as you say, never looked back.
Well, I must say I am internally indebted for that.
Absolutely. And one day when you are rich and famous, I do expect a cut.
Well, you know what I think we should do now? I think we should recreate some of that 1980s fishing and get the float rod out with some maggots. What do you reckon?
Absolutely. Get the little perch out.
Let's go for it.
Let's do it.
It took some getting a hold of, though, you know.
That was at 3 a.m. this morning.
Was
Well,
it?
yeah.
Really?
What, so have you never seen anyone catch much from here then?
No, never. I was gobsmacked when I saw it. There you go. You've got to, don't take me picture, man.
See you later. Bye. Right, it's about 1:30 in the afternoon now. We're getting ready to pretty much pack up for the day. There's not particularly much happening, apart from a lot of bird life, as you can probably see in the background. It looks like putting a rod just on the edge of the no fishing area really paid off. That's where I had the fish from. What I did was I got some monster squid paste, wrapped it around the lead and the boilie as well, so it was giving off loads of attraction, and it looks like what happened is one of them's come out of the no fishing area during the night, come across the bait, nailed it straight away. After a few hairy moments, it was out in front of me and in the net, and I'm still buzzing away off of it. It's an amazing feeling to think that I've come back here and managed to nick one out. And even if I never catch a fish from here again, I'm not really that bothered. It's just brilliant. The park didn't give up any more carp before we left, but I couldn't resist the idea of coming back the following day for another go. So early the next morning I was back on the banks of Leazes Park, with Peter joining me to do some float fishing. A few hours later, a whirlwind arrived at our swim in the shape of my cousin Alex, her husband Eddie, and their 4 young children. After getting seriously stuck into some ice creams, the girls were more and more intrigued by what I was doing and asked if they could have a go at fishing. I was only too happy to oblige, as watching youngsters enjoy the buzz of fishing for the first time is certainly a great feeling, as young Mia was about to discover.
Yeah!
Who wants to get it? Who wants to get it with the net?
Get it, Alex.
Yes! It's in! It's in! Ah! Heavy! Heavy!
It's a bream.
A bream!
Don't touch him.
Go on, Lex. Go on, Heidi.
Over the next 2 hours, the three young girls were totally captivated by the fishing. And having never tried it before, I dare say this won't be the last time they go. Even though it stayed very quiet on the carp front, the day was a massive success, as we now had 3 new recruits for the sport, and you can't really ask for more than that.
Brilliant. That was brilliant. We've all had one. We've all had one.
Well, I've just arrived back at home now from my session at Leazes Park in Newcastle. I have to say it was brilliant, still buzzing from it. It was probably one of my best sessions ever. And for any carp anglers watching this, you haven't lived until you've been to Leazes Park and caught one of the carp in there. It's so good, such a great feeling. So what are you waiting for? Get yourself down there and do it, man. See you later.